Please join me in welcoming back to Oklahoma, actor Dennis Quaid. Woo!
Hi. Hello, everybody. Hi.
Yay, you're here,
Good to
you're
be here.
here.
Great. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I say welcome back to Oklahoma because he filmed most of the Reagan movie here in Oklahoma most
That's right,
recently.
Ed Guthrie. That was a really long reel, by the way.
Yeah.
I guess I've done a lot of movies.
Yes, but you're amazing. And you also filmed, I can only imagine here, I forgot that was filmed in Oklahoma.
Yeah, we did. It took place in North Texas, but, it's hardly a border there, right?
Yes.
Going back and forth
Yes.
between there and the Cotton Bowl. So,
You made-
yeah, and we are actually making I Can Only Imagine 2
Oh.
right
look
now.
At
How about
that?
that? I didn't expect it. It will be focused on Bart and his son
Awesome.
and what they've been through in that generation. But it was such an honor to do that role. And what an experience.
Yeah.
Bart was on the set every day, basically, and is watching his life play out on the little video monitor as we filmed it. And that was tough stuff to watch. Yeah, I'm sure tough stuff to live through as well. Mm-hmm. And that's what motivated me to do the movie, because it was about a redemption. Mm-hmm. It was for my character, for his dad, and it was of salvation in life, and that it's there for everyone who asks.
Right. And that's what we were saying is that story is one that the Salvation Army sees firsthand, helping people in that situation turn their lives around and have that redemption.
Well, the Salvation Army is the original, isn't it? I mean, it really is. It's the template for every social service, I think, that we have. And, at a time, I guess in London, and then it made its way just worldwide to help people in need. But it does what so many organizations miss, mm-hmm. which is it's the Christian spirit that which is really the thing that needs healing more than anything, because with that, give that Christian spirit away, it starts a wildfire that heals the whole world. It really does.
And I understand you also have some more Oklahoma connections that we just wanted to share quickly. Your dad is from Oklahoma?
Yeah, my dad was born in Antlers, mm-hmm. Oklahoma, down south. And then my cousin is Gene Autry, who grew up with my grandfather here in Oklahoma as kids. And so, I loved Roy Rogers growing up.
There you go. You have to go to Claremore
and
when
then
you're
there's
here
Will
next.
Rogers.
Yes.
And then you've
exactly.
got quite a pantheon,
Yeah.
come from Oklahoma.
It's a cool place. That's why I've
true.
stayed after 12 years and have no plans to leave. So we're so glad
And
you're
Tulsa,
here.
I can't believe it. I mean, what a beautiful city.
It really is.
That is still intact, and you may not notice it, but it's gleaming. I've been working in Jersey City, New Jersey, which is through the Holland Tunnel. You can see New York over there, and it's quite a stark difference.
Yes.
So.
Well, we will take the compliment that Tulsa is
It's
claiming.
beautiful. And
All
what
right.
makes it beautiful is the people, really.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
Yes, that's one of the things we love. And so many here tonight, they're so giving. This is one of the most giving communities I've ever seen. They support their own. Well, let's dive into your career.
All right.
This is all about Imagine. So when you were younger, how did you imagine yourself becoming a Hollywood actor or getting into acting?
Well, I didn't know what I wanted to do, really. I was, I thought maybe I'll be a veterinarian and go to Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if I had the grades for it, but And then I thought, well, maybe I'll be a forest ranger. I really didn't know. But then at the University of Houston, there was an acting teacher when I got over to the University of Houston. They lost last night, but that's all right.
That was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, and his name was Cecil Pickett, and I was in his class for a week. And at the end of that week, I knew what I wanted to do with my life, and that is such a gift for someone 18, 19 years old to know what you want to do with your life. My kids right now are 17, and I feel for them so much because here we are, starting to look at colleges and what am I going to do with my life? I know that's the question that's in their minds and on their hearts. And it is such a gift to have that young. I tell my kids, I say, find something that you love to do already, and then figure out a way to get paid for it. And then you'll have a third of your life pretty much figured out. That's a good part of your life. And but Mr. Pickett taught acting in a way that I could really understand it. That it was about psychology, about what makes people tick. And that's reflected in the way they walk, and the way they talk, the things they talk about, their interests, their this and that. It all adds up to make a character. And I just found that fascinating. And the more I've done it, certainly I got into it, and all those other things come into it about how well am I doing, and fame and this and that, but now that I'm at this point in my life, I love it even more now. It's I really enjoy doing it because I'm just doing it because I love it now.
I think you can probably appreciate it so much more too, instead of just the fight to get any role when you're a young starving actor.
Yeah,
you can probably pick and choose now.
I'm not trying to get anywhere. I don't care about awards and all that stuff. I do it because I love doing it.
But acting is one of probably the most competitive fields. So how did you handle the struggle and stay on the path to try to land those roles and achieve that dream?
Well, I think just about for anything in life, really. And the acting world is very competitive. There were 30,000 actors on any given day that are out of work, in the Screen Actors Guild. And at that time, there was maybe 100 working at that time. And I said, well, I'm going to be one of those 100. I don't care what it takes. I'm just tenacity, I think, more than anything, is tenacity. And just not giving up, And if you do give up, that's fine. And but if you want to do it, that's really what it takes. And even after you get the first one, then there's other challenges involved in life, just like with everybody here. To have, I don't want to say a happy life. I think it's more important to have a meaningful life.
And that's part of Imagine Your mission here tonight, is having a meaningful life. What difference can each one of us make in someone else's life so that we can help them live a better life?
Well, for me, I think it's to make life more meaningful is to help someone else. And that could be a group of people. It can be your own kids. It could be as simple as tying a shoelace, or, someone asking you. I mean, that's what Jesus said would give us a meaningful life, or a happiness in that, helping other people, loving other people in a way, because that's a way of loving yourself. And it takes your mind off of your own really minuscule problems in the face of the overall picture of things, and put your attention to doing. I call myself, I I'm a human doing, not a human being.
There you go. Yeah, that's
Because
a great phrase.
if you're doing, you don't have time to really kind of ponder. And so I really think it's really helping other people. And that's how we form a community. And that's how we're strong, is by helping each other.
No, we definitely need each other to lift each other up. You've been public and open about the struggles that you've dealt with in your career. What kind of led you down a negative path? What led you to rock bottom, and how did you rise back up?
Well, it was fun. That led me down that path.
If you're being
Or what I
honest.
thought, yeah, if I'm being honest, it was like part of that culture of the 70s when I, turned 18. And, along with that was, alcohol and drugs at the time, especially cocaine, which was my personal demon. But, it was sold as, kind of a party thing. And of course I was out there in the, those cloudy places of Hollywood, up on high clouds. And there's 3 stages. There's fun, and then there's fun with problems, and then there's just problems. And, when it got to that stage, it starts to affect your relationships, it starts to affect your work, it starts to affect just about every aspect of your life. And addiction is a tough thing. It really is a tough thing. It's I would spend hours because I couldn't go to sleep and I had to work in 3 hours or whatever, basically screaming at God to please take this away from me.
Wow.
And then, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I would go, I'm okay. But it was, I had a band at the time, and the night that we got our record deal, we played at the Palace in Hollywood, and we got our record deal that night, and we broke up backstage right after.
Like, wait, that's not supposed to happen.
Because of me. Because I was just, I wasn't there. And we broke up, and it was because of me. And I went home, and I had, what do you call them, a white light experience. I saw myself either dead, in jail, or losing absolutely everything that I ever cared about or wanted to happen in my life. And so the next day I went to see my doctor, and then I checked into a rehab there, and that was before they had those Hollywood rehabs where you get massages and room service and stuff. This was in the basement of a hospital, and I was really lucky. I got it in 28 days, that
Wow.
first time, and it was a real struggle after that. It was really just clenching and gnawing my teeth because your nervous system is so gone from that.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
the thing that really got me through it was God.
Is that when you found your faith?
Yeah, I was baptized when I was in the 5th grade, and at First Baptist Church in Bel Air, Texas. I'm from Houston, and I became kind of church disillusioned with the church in a way. Yeah, I think I told myself it was because I forgot my quarter that day at Sunday school, and I really got lectured about that. But it didn't really speak to me at the time. It seemed about more kind of ritual and just kind of talk rather than something real. And I read the Bible when I was 20, cover to cover. And after I got out of rehab, and I really needed that, I meditated and prayed on a daily basis, and I read the Bible again from cover to cover. And I've done it about every 20 years. I've read the Bible from cover to cover, and every time I read it, it's like reading a new book. It really is, because as you grow older, it's something that it's so deep There's not an experience in humankind that is not found in the Bible. There's not a thought you could have that is not in the Bible. And it was a great source of comfort for me. It was also, it brings out all your fears. It brings out everything about you. And some things that you never knew about yourself. And some things that frighten you. But that's that's what, when you seek, that's what happens. And, God did take it away from me. It was because of Jesus that I was, that I was able to get through that time. And, but you got to be careful what you ask God for, because he just might give it to you. And he'll give it to you in a way that you didn't expect. Like, no, wait a minute, not like that.
What's an example of that?
I mean, that's the way he works. It really truly is. With everything that goes with it. And with that, he took. I asked him to take that away from me, that addiction. But there was a lot of struggle to go with it. In other words, you have to do the work that goes along with that. And so. But it's just, it really opened. I'm glad that I went through it. I'm glad I had that in my life. I think I've been at that place that's been rock bottom, and I can understand that in others when it happens.
You have more compassion for them. You've experienced that.
I've been at that place too in life, even after that, where I've gotten to another rock bottom. It's I expect, well, I'm going to get to a certain age and I'm going to have things figured out, because, older people, they look like they have things figured out. They certainly act like they do. But then I get to like 60 and I realize that I don't know what it's like to be 60, so I'm learning all this stuff, and now I'm 70 and, relearning other stuff, and keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, and I understand your wife is also a woman of faith, and
Yes.
I saw an interview with you where you said this relationship is different because it's the first time faith has been central in your marriage.
The first time God has actually been in the relationship. I mean, we asked him to come into our relationship.
What difference do you think that makes?
It makes all the difference.
In what way?
Because we humans, we really can't do it alone. We really need help. We really do. I can't figure out her problems, and she can't figure out mine. Let's turn that over to God and let him handle it. And there's freedom in that, and you can get through anything with that, no matter what comes along in life.
Well, it's great to see how much God has impacted your life and pulled you back up from the bottom a few times, you mentioned.
Yeah, that's we all have hard times in life.
Yeah.
Don't we? But it's been such a beautiful life. In fact, my autobiography will be called My Lucky Life, because I've gotten to do so many things that are way beyond whatever I dreamed of doing. And there's still so much to do.
Right. You are still very young.
Yeah.
In fact, speaking of your incredible life and your lucky life, what do you think was what would you call your breakout role and breakout moment?
I was breaking away. There was a movie called Breaking Away. It was for local kids in Indiana, with that bike race. And it really kind of touched a chord, I think, with people. But there were several roles. The Right Stuff, where I got to play an astronaut. That was really something, because that was my boyhood dream. And then the astronaut that I played, he was my hero when I was a kid, Gordo. I grew up in Houston. It was Space City. And then I found out the guy lived 3 miles from me, and we became great friends. And then he turns me on to a flight school over there, and I got my pilot's license in secret while we were making the movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then Chuck Yeager's on the set every day. You know, it's like having John Wayne on the set. And in the premiere, got to be like Yeager's wingman going down the Potomac River, and we flew over the White House. And just as an actor, what I really loved about it and relished it, I get to go through all those doors that say authorized personnel only.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
whether it's a restaurant or Cape Canaveral.
There you go. So obviously those are some of your favorite roles. What do you think, what's a role where you're like, maybe I shouldn't have done that role? Or do you still learn something?
Yeah,
Because
even
we talk
those.
about learning from
No.
mistakes and things like that.
Even though any movie I shot in Eastern Europe, it's like, you know, you're 3 in the morning and you're up to your chest in mud.
Oh, gosh.
And of course, you're wearing short sleeves,
Yeah.
even though it's winter. But you know, it's lucky. I'm lucky to be doing this. I don't regret anything. Any of them, to tell you the truth.
And is that part of the reason being because you do get these interesting experiences or you learn something from them? There's always something to take away?
Learn something try to every day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm learning over there in Jersey City yet, but I guess I'll figure that one out.
Is this the Happy
Later
Face show? Or the Happy
No,
Face
that's
series? Okay.
Happy Face. I
Or is
did,
that-
you know, I really thought long and hard about doing that because I really didn't, you know, about playing a serial killer. And
Yep. Let me pause you real quick because I had just heard about this tonight too. So in case you didn't know, Dennis Quaid is now in this new series that came out called Happy Face, and it's about a serial killer, about the daughter of a serial killer.
yeah. What else do you do after you play Reagan? You
Yeah.
know, but he was the Happy Face Killer is what he was called. In the 90s, he killed 8 women in 5 years, actually. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to play a serial killer because I don't want to give him any publicity. I don't even say his name because he's in a hole in Oregon where he should be. And salvation is open to everybody, but let him and God work that out. Mm-hmm. All right?
Understood.
So, but his daughter, he was a sweet, loving father when she was a little girl. And he was a trucker, and he would go and he'd come back and he'd bring her presents. And then when she was 15, she finds out he was caught. She finds out that he's this monster. And so how do you reconcile in your brain that? And if you live with that for the rest of your life. It was her that was why I wanted to do it. And she, you live with shame inside yourself. Mm-hmm. You live with, do I have that in me? As a way of healing, she started reaching out to the families of her father's victims. And then started reaching out to families of other perpetrators. And started a podcast with that. And I think that was really courageous, rather than hiding. And because you break that chain, in a sense, and try to reach out to help others. There you go. Helping others is the thing that heals yourself.
And that's what you were telling me when we got to have a little brief conversation before our interview, is you mentioned, I didn't take it to play a serial killer, as you just shared. It was more that salvation, that redemption, and it's something, again, part of the Salvation Army's mission, tying it back to people who live such a troubled life, but then helping others so they aren't repeating anything like that.
Yeah.
Especially those heinous crimes.
Well, I love stories about redemption. I really do, because we all crave it in some part of our lives. And, hope that whether it's a relationship with a loved one that's, what was left unsaid, or something we never got to do, or some kind of perceived wrong or slight or whatever. And when it happens, it's a great theme in literature and in films because everyone recognizes it. And, think about movies. I go to the movies to feel things, not to see things.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. And you make us feel, seeing that highlight reel, it's like there's just so many powerful roles with so many statements that are made and that you build that connection with people. So that leads me to ask you, what do you want your legacy to be?
My kids. My kids to live a meaningful life. That'd be my best legacy for myself. That my kids think I did a good job of raising them. That's what, and because that's really meaningful because it's something that is meaningful is tough. Raising kids and is about sacrifice and it's joy and fun and all their stuff, but there's so much that goes with it, and it's a thing that means the most of us to us. It's family, and from there is the extension of community.
Have they seen your movies?
Yeah.
A lot of them?
Yeah, they're kind of unfazed by it
Yeah.
at this point.
Like that's just Dad.
Yeah,
Fine.
Dad. Right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, in speaking of legacy, what responsibility do you think we all have to help those in need?
Well, again, you talk about it as responsibility. That feels like obligation. I think it's when we do it, we're really doing it for our own spirit. The Spirit of God, the Holy Ghost, that it was given to us, it pervades us all. And when we reach out for others, we are helping ourselves. That's what Jesus told us to do. It was really simple what he said to do. And it spreads that Christian spirit without beating it over the head.
Yeah.
At the same time, without preaching it. It's something that touches everyone, and whether it's remembered or not, it's put out there. And if you throw bread on the water, it comes back to you tenfold.
That's a great message. So tell us what you have working on, what you are working on in the future. I know I got to see you warm up. You're going to give us a musical treat here in just a few minutes. But what else do you have going on right now? What can we expect to see from you in the future that you're at least aware of right now?
I kind of put one foot in front of the other right now, but I do have my wife and I started a production company. It's called Bonnie Dale, which is my mother's middle name.
Oh, awesome.
And we're working in Texas right now to make Texas the film capital of the world, to tell you the truth. And we're focusing.
Wait. We're trying to keep that here in Oklahoma.
I understand that. It's on. Hey, we're adjacent.
It's a different red dirt rivalry.
But we want to focus on doing movies that everybody wants to see, that there's a market for out there. Films like I Can Only Imagine, or films about the human spirit, and that's not afraid to say so, to talk about Christianity, and that are about things that over in Hollywood they're too cool for school to do, and they wonder why nobody goes to the movies anymore.
I like that.
About American values and Christian values.
All right, another thing that I wanted to hear. Yes, I enjoy hearing. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience tonight? That you're like,
A whole lot,
what?
but I don't know if we have the time.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear you guys and your point of view about it. We're still here, guys.
Yes.
those of us of a certain age.
Well, speaking of age, I just turned 50 this weekend, and your birthday is tomorrow. So happy birthday,
Thank
Eve.
you.
We're so glad you're spending it here with us in Tulsa. So how about we sing happy birthday to Dennis Quaid? Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dennis. Happy birthday to you. Woo!
Thank you.